you're gonna run into that moment in the story where it's gonna be difficult, right? Where it's like the emotional thing, or there's always like when you get offered a role, when you're reading a script, you gotta look at it and go, what's the crux of the character, or what's the whole reason why this story was made? Why is this character here? Usually, a lot of these characters have a thing that's gonna turn, or something that's gonna impact them, or something that you can connect to personally. So usually, the difficult thing is always like, what is that? And it could be different for every character. I don't know, it's a daily thing. Some days are super easy. Like all you gotta do is go on and say a few lines, and you're like totally partying the night before. People are like, don't you have to work tomorrow? I'm like, yeah, I gotta say 2 lines tomorrow. I already know them. I'll tell you right now. And then sometimes you need to, really study hard. And sometimes it's physical. Okay, like with Rufio, there's a lot of sword play. I didn't know I did sword fighting for that movie, so I did months and months of sword fighting. Before, during, it's like I had to do sword fighting. Basically, the dance movie, I had to learn how to freaking, which I love dancing, but then to learn ballroom dancing is crazy. It's great. I loved it, but you're like, I didn't realize how hard it is to do the waltz. It's hard. And then, so sometimes it's physically difficult, and then sometimes it's emotionally difficult because, you may have to cry. Crying's easy for a lot of people. Crying's not that hard for me, I don't think. I need to do it. Or something crying about, I think. But then also there's like rage or joy for some people. It's different for everybody in different times. Like sometimes you're in a happy, joyful scene, and you're like, I just don't feel that happy today. But you have to go and kind of do it. So the most difficult role, it's hard to say. I mean, I think one role that was kind of hard was, I did a movie called The Debut, and it's like the first Filipino-American film, and I'm Filipino, so trying to be a character that's going to be the voice of a whole community for the first time in Hollywood, and it's become this Asian American cult classic since. That's kind of hard because everyone, you know what I'm saying, because everyone's looking at you ultimately like, you know something that you may not know. Like you're a voice for, like you're right, you have to be a role model and all that kind of stuff, and that has a lot to carry with it. Trying to make the right choices, trying to represent the culture in a very true way, but also, it's hard to kind of maneuver through. But you kind of you try to throw the difficulty out of it and go, you really every day just go to try to be truthful in the moment, like basic, like if the scene is like, I'm gonna go in and my dad's making breakfast for me, or we're actually gonna have a fight, you just gotta go in like, I'm hungry. And then hope, I'm hungry, and maybe he's gonna say something that upsets me, that'll treat that, but it's kind of like you try to go basics, think about difficulty of things. Questions? Yes? Okay. Well, my favorite Harry Potter character. Okay, first of all, I'm Gryffindor, so I'm like super, I like the Gryffindors. But that being said, I mean, of course you like Harry. I mean, like the main three, like you like them, but like it's boring to say you like them because whatever. We all like Mickey Mouse, so who cares? Like Mickey Mouse is cool. I mean, I love all those guys. But the other guys, I mean, I really love Luna Lovegood, even though she's not a Gryffindor, but she's still cool. She's weird, right? She's like a weirdo. And I did a con with her, and she's super cool. And like a quick story about that. So I did a con in Australia, and so she's there, right? And they're like, oh, Luna Lovegood's here. And I'm like, yo, I gotta meet Luna Lovegood, right? And actually, her boyfriend was there too, and her boyfriend is Robbie, who plays young James Potter, which is crazy. Like, she's dating James Potter, right? So I'm a big Potterhead, and I told my like handlers, like, yo, can you let them know I need like pictures, signed pictures, like whatever, I'll pay for them, I don't care. Like I'm a Harry Potter person. And they're like, yeah, sure. And they came back and like, you know what, you wouldn't believe this, but they just geeked out because they really want to meet you. I'm like, why? Because they're really big Avatar fans, right? I'm like, what? She's like, yeah, both of them are super big Avatar fans. And so we end up going out to dinner that night. And so I'm like, yo, I'm such a big fan. Like, I'm a Gryffindor, I have like a scarf and everything, and I'm like, roll. Like, I rep Gryffindor hard, you know? And she was like, yeah, no, we're big Avatar fans. Like, I paint, she's like, I'm Fire Nation. So, you know, Evie's like, Evie's like, I'm Fire Nation. And Robbie's Air Temple. I'm like, oh, that's awesome. She goes, no, like I painted a picture on canvas of me, not me, her, of me and my Fire Nation and Robbie as an airbender. I said, what? She said, no, I painted a picture of us on canvas. I'm like, oh. And she's like, you want to see it? I'm like, yeah, I do want to see this. And so she shows me on her phone, and it's a big picture. It's like a painted picture of her in Fire Nation and Robbie, like, Air Temple guy. And I'm like, wow, you're those kind of fans. I have a scarf. I might get a tie. I don't got no canvas painting that I did. But they're awesome, so, okay, so I'm gonna say Little Love Good, probably. You know, yeah, Little Love Good right now, I'll say that. And then, and plus her Patronus is a rabbit, and like, I like rabbits. I don't know. So I've been in the Avatar series. It goes back and forth. I mean, Azula's probably one of my favorite characters, for sure. Just because she's so entertaining and Grey Delisle, you know. Probably got like a crush on Grey too, so it's probably something. She's great, and she's just the character's awesome. And I just love the banter between Zuko and Azula. Who are your favorite characters? Both franchises.
Oh, I'd say Winky the House Elf. Oh my God.
That's cool. That's a real specific. I didn't know we'd go to the animals. Although, you know what, Dobby.
Yeah, Dobby.
I was emotionally attached to that dude.
And then I'd go with
Uncle Ira. Yeah, Uncle Ira. Yeah, good one. Questions? Yes, sir.
What would be your favorite role that in any form? And did you ever do any non-human roles?
Non-human roles. What was the first question? My favorite.
Your favorite role, voice actor, live action, whatever.
Oh yeah. It's hard to say the favorites, you know, because it's just it's been a long career, and it's weird for actors because a lot of times it's not about the role, it's about that kind of experience. And a lot of times when I'm watching movies or things I've done in the past, I'm really less looking at the role, and I'm looking at like that time of my life, right? It's like, you know, like Hook, I was 15, it's all those guys, and trying to connect with those dudes or take the lead. You're like, all the friends from like 10 years ago that you hung out with hard. We shot that in Toronto, and so you think about all the places we hung out. You know, you're looking at a photo album of your life, or girls you dated, you know, that kind of, you know, like, wow, I did that shit, you know, that kind of stuff. So it's hard to pick favorite roles. They're all favorite for different reasons. I know it's a cop-out to say, but it's like, they're all pretty, it's just your life, you know, it's like, did you like your high school days better than your college days, better than your 20s? It's all pretty good times. And if I don't know if I played something not a human. I mean, I was a dragon sometimes, with Jay Long. A lot of times I was that dragon. But beyond that, did I play a lot of humans. You know, vocally, I'm classically like this kind of teenage guy, angsty kind of guy, except when I turn into a dragon. So I don't know, I feel like I've auditioned for a bunch of animals, but I don't know if and they always laugh because I don't have, this is the thing too, like I stumbled into voice acting, right? And so I'm just an actor, like I'm an actor and I act, and I became this voice actor, and so there's a lot of brilliant voice actors that I love, that I've worked with, that I look up to, that have these ranges where they do all these voices, and I've been able to work with these guys, and super kind of like in awe of them as I'm in the room with them, right? Like I'm talking like Kevin Michael Richardson, or like D. Bradley Baker, or like Ian Gray does a ton of voices, and you're John DiMaggio, and you're sitting there and they're doing like a gang of voices. They're like a dragon talking to a bear, talking to a man, talking to a boy, and then it's me that comes in as a teenager, but like, he went that way. And I sit back down like, dude, this is really, I feel super inadequate. Because you're dealing with like beasts of voice actors, so yeah, I don't recall. And then they don't make fun of me, they laugh at me, because a lot of times when you're doing stuff, we're doing this thing, and we're all these guys in space or wherever the heck we're doing, or we're in the forest, and there's always these smaller roles that come up that like 1 or 2 lines, and sometimes they don't bother to cast, actors, because we got 6 actors in the room, and so like, who wants to do the troll, like, Kevin, you do it, or whoever, Mark, do it, and they're like, Dante, try it, and it's just do my same voice. He went that way, like, that's not gonna work. Like, yeah, Dante, let's hear your troll. I'm like, you've been hearing my troll for the last hour. I could try something else. But, so it's just one of those kind of things. But still, it's like fun. Questions? Yes?
What's your favorite recent anime?
Favorite recent anime? I was gonna say Attack on Titan. It's between Attack on Titan. It's probably Attack on Titan. It's probably Attack on Titan, but I also like Sword Art Online.
Yes.
But it's probably Attack on Titan. Questions? And the glasses back there. Oh, the shades. We'll come to you next. No, I do not. But I started watching Attack on Titan because a friend of mine, Bryce Papelbon, voices one of the characters, and so we were hanging out. And I was watching some of his stuff and hanging out at cons, and then also I have an events company that does stuff in LA, and we do events for Funimation when they come into town. So we also did the event party for like the live action Attack on Titan, which was pretty weird. But I kind of dug it. I don't know. I didn't see the second one. The first one I saw, and it was all in Japanese, and I didn't watch the whole series. So I don't know what was going on, but it was like, I don't know, pretty Japanese people flying around, killing giant Japanese people, getting eaten. It was disturbing too. I was like, have you guys, anyone seen the live action version? How crazy was that? It was like in the stomach. So I was like, but what I did love about the live action was the cosplay. Well, it was not cosplay, I guess it's wardrobe for them. To see the wardrobe of like the pilots and stuff without, not in like animation form, but in real life, I thought it was super cool with the capes and the leather. Oh, that's cool. But I don't even know what the question was. I'm just reminded. I'm just thinking of people getting eaten by the big in diapers. And it was like, it's one thing to see that in animation, and then when you see it in real life, you're like, that's friggin' scary. Like the idea of seeing real giants walking around is weird. Weirder than it looks in animation. I don't even remember what question you asked. That was it? The manga, yeah. I didn't get no more. I don't even know. I did not read the manga. Question, what was your question?
Being in Zuko, what was it like for you to see this transition go from like a really angry bad guy who just hates the world to going to this nice guy who's friends with everybody and he's a good guy? What was that like for you?
I mean, that's a great story. It's a redemptive story, and it was great. It's one of the classic storylines there is, right? There are. They say there's only 7 storylines. That's what they tell you in writing class. You gotta believe them because, I don't know, teachers and stuff. But also, it's a character storyline that in my career that I've been able to play plenty of times. It's one of my classic kind of storylines. Rufio, it's a very similar storyline. It's so funny, like, I think there's this thing that they say, and you don't believe it when you first come to Hollywood, your acting coaches and people will tell you, like, you're gonna get cast. I mean, you can get cast. There's like a type casting that goes on, and sometimes it can be negative, and sometimes it's just it's part of what it is. And you go, how is that possible? I'm just a person that coming in. We all do everything. But there's this thing when you look back on your career now. If you watch like TV shows I've done, there's like at least 50 to 60% of them is that storyline. Bless you. Is that storyline, and they'll prove it to you. Like they'll say like Harrison Ford, right? I go, yeah, Harrison Ford. Yeah, what about him? I love him. Like right, but like Indiana Jones and Han Solo are like very similar. I'm like, really? They're like, he's always getting chased. I'm like, yeah, he is always getting chased, isn't he? Like that kind of stuff. And there's these archetype things that just for some reasons it's good. Like you play them well, and audiences like you playing them. And so one of those is for me is the redemptive storyline. And if you watch like a lot of like you do guest stars on TV shows, I'm always that like bad kid who's like bad, and then all of a sudden I end up saving the teacher's life or something. Like, oh, you turned good. It's the same thing, right? Even like take Liam, like it's always that bad kid. It's so funny. I did that film. The director, she wrote me a note later on. She said, "Oh, it's amazing how you did some things in the scene and you really changed Antonio Banderas' performance because of the things that you did." And I, and of course I was like, I thanked her, like, oh, thanks. But in my mind was like, I've done that scene 1,000 times. If I don't know how to play that scene, then what am I doing? Like, that's my bread and butter stuff. But even amongst all those redemptive storylines, I think Zuko is going to go down in history as like this really beautiful story. I think it's really important, especially with a certain generation that grew up with him. Somehow the way it was written and portrayed, even myself, I went into the story just thinking it was a bad guy. I had no clue or no idea that he was going to redeem himself. And we ended up running, like all of us, Jack, Sen, and myself, May Whitman, coming into the sessions every week. Like, did you read it? Did you read what's going on this week? This is crazy. So we were just following the whole story, the soap opera, everything going on as we were recording. And it's a little bit different because you guys all watched it and experienced it through the animation, and we really experienced it through just reading scripts, like seriously just reading scripts. And it's kind of funny, it came to my mind, like as I sit down and sometimes you like click on the TV and Nickelodeon's having a weekend marathon, they're playing all the episodes, and I get to catch some episodes now years later, and it's cool to watch all the animation because the first time, all these scenes and all these episodes, it's really, it's May right here and Jack over here doing the scenes, and Uncle Ira and Mako in the room, and my memory of all these stories is really them doing them in the room with me, and like just kind of telling stories, talking stories, and then it's great to see it later on in all the animation. Thanks for the question. Question, yes?
Are there any chance of a new series, episode, movie?
I don't know. I asked Mike, we're all friends still. We're all friends, and Mike and Brian, the creators of Avatar, we go to lunch, every few months, we try to just kind of like go to lunch, and they don't really want to right now. They don't really, that's what they're saying. Like they're not. Which is understandable. They've been doing it for 10 plus years, right? And I've been around them for that long now, which is crazy. Doing the first series and able to come back and do General Iroh in the second, and like pop in and say hi to everybody every few weeks was fun. But they're trying to move on to some new ideas and some different things. But I always think that the franchise is too big, right? That it's got to come back. We at least have to finish the cycle of Avatars. We got to get to a Fire Nation Avatar, for the love of God. Yes.
So who's your favorite Legend of Korra character?
Boylan, probably PJ. I love PJ, and I love to be. I love Korra. I love them all. They're cool. They're all right. No, they're cool. I was the first person of the first. I was first of the original game to come and do a character on the new show. So I was like definitely like the elder classman coming to them like, okay, so what are y'all up to? We already saved the world, right? We already did it. But they're good. I mean, I love to see, like I love PJ, I love Jack Messina too, right, on our cast.